A court in Bangladesh has sentenced former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to death after she was found guilty of crimes against humanity. Hasina was tried in absentia over her role in the killings of hundreds of people in a student-led uprising last year. Hasina was accused of giving direct orders to shoot at demonstrators. The UN says up to 1,400 people were killed in the crackdowns. Hasina fled to India and has defied court orders to return to Bangladesh. She's called the conviction politically motivated. And for more, let's pull in Michael Kugelman. He's a South Asia analyst based in Washington, D.C. Welcome back to DW. Michael, what is your view of this sentence? Is it legally justified or is it politically motivated, or maybe some of both?
Well, I mean, the most important thing to keep in mind at the top is that the many families that lost people to the violence of Hasina's security forces, they have had justice served, so to speak. So many of them were hoping for the most serious punishment of Sheikh Hasina, and they got it. And indeed, there is tremendous amounts of evidence that Sheikh Hasina did indeed authorize her security forces to crack down with force against peaceful protesters. And as your report noted, we're talking about 1,400 people, most of them innocent, peaceful protesters that were killed by security forces, including many who were shot in the head. So I think that's important to keep in mind right there. But that said, the Sheikh Hasina and her supporters have alleged that the way that this trial and this investigation took place was indeed not credible and politically motivated. Particularly, there's been criticism that everything happened very quickly, and that the defense, Sheikh Hasina's defense, did not receive the proper resources that it needed. So, at the end of the day, this is going to intensify the very fraught political environment in Bangladesh right now, one where you have many across the public that wanted to see Sheikh Hasina get the maximum punishment, but at the same time, Hasina and her party continue to enjoy a base in Bangladesh. So there are people that are very unhappy about this verdict.
Let's talk about that polarization in Bangladesh, because Sheikh Hasina is such a divisive figure. Her party, the Awami League, which is one of the country's main political parties with millions of loyal followers, has effectively been banned from politics. The country's going into elections come February. Is that a recipe? Is this ban a recipe for more instability?
Yeah, unfortunately, it could be. I mean, unfortunately, Bangladesh has a long history of political polarization that often turns violent. Retributive politics is a big part of the political fabric in Bangladesh, meaning that the party in power goes after the one that's not, and vice versa when the one in opposition comes to power. And we've seen over the more than 1 year that since Hasina was ousted, that those that are in power have done everything possible to sideline the Awami League, including banning it from political activities, which means that essentially the party cannot participate in the elections. And the risk there is that you'll have spoilers from the Awami League that try to disrupt the election with violence. And very notably, Sheikh Hasina's son, who is a very prominent figure in the party, he said yesterday in an interview that if the ban on the Awami League's inability to participate in politics, if that ban is not removed, he said that the party will block the election, which to me sounds like a thinly veiled threat of violence. So certainly very concerning as we move into the 3 months before the election.
Now, you posted that Sheikh Hasina, who's in exile in India, is going nowhere, that there's basically no chance of her return to Bangladesh. Why do you say that?
So India is viewed, not just actually India's government and also the wider political class in India have viewed Sheikh Hasina as a very close ally and partner. And this goes back to the Sheikh Hasina's father, who was the first leader of Bangladesh, very close to the Gandhi family, which is a big part of the National Congress opposition in India. India does not turn on its most closest friends. So there's no way, in my view, that India will turn Hasina over to Bangladesh's government, even though there is an extradition treaty between Bangladesh and India. My sense is that India would like to find some type of arrangement where there could be a third country that could take Hasina in, because pressure is going to build on India's government to turn her over, but it's not going to do that. So I think for India, the best option is maybe the middle ground option, where it doesn't turn her over to Bangladesh, but also does not keep her in India, where this could become a bit of a challenge for India, particularly if New Delhi wants to try to ease tensions with Bangladesh when the next government following the election in Bangladesh comes to power. But the question is if there's any country that will be willing to take her in, Hasina. Obviously, she's very controversial, has just been convicted sentenced to death for crimes against humanity.
South Asia analyst Michael Kugelman, thank you for your insights.
Thanks for having me.